the Nisu in the form of the dua. He's in the form of the dua, and what is that dua or admiration for?
Praise.
Praise, but praise to what?
The stars.
What star is that?
Asar.
The star is set. So why is it being praised? What's happening here? When that star comes, what happens?
The new year.
Transformation.
Okay, let's bring it to you in Christianity. When the star in the east appears, what did that tell them?
A birth.
Heru.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. That was copied from here, showing the dua giving birth to Septa. That's the star Septa that the Romans called Ceres and the Greeks called Solis. When that star appeared, that meant that at December the 25th, the sun was born. And who is a personification of the sun?
Heru.
Heru. So Heru is going to be born at this time because that star was perpendicular to the star system, the star Ra. There was a personification of Heru. So here we see the story that the evil brother who cut up Asar, who is holding the scepter, it never touches the ground, 360 degrees of the living perpendicular. Here she's going to set his Netrahemp is going to bring Asar back to life. But how is she going to bring him back to life? She's holding up in her hand a beautiful relief right here, the Netrahemp. That means the divine life. She's going to raise him up because from that Netrahemp, it represents her womb, her uterus. Out of that womb will be born the holy child Heru. Now, when we understand that, how we as an African people were cut up, and let's tie that to today, and spread all over the world, is that right?
Yes,
Right. Taken from Africa, some of us were brought to America, some of us to South America, some of us to Europe and England and other places, is that right?
Right.
So here we see that Aset is the one who had to travel throughout the land, pulling together all the pieces of Asar's body to resurrect him to life. Now, we can take this story and tie it to our story because we have been cut up and spread around the world. And what is it going to take to reconstruct us? The African woman. Because it is her womb that'll bring what? Life. New life. By her having new life and reconstructing us, then we can be a people for eternity. So this is why we see the system in America will grab our youth and then have them desecrate sisters and call their names, knowing that spirituality of the divinity and deification that we had for the African woman, once that is destroyed, then we are no more. I think we should have a tradition, even though you may not know her, that every time you pass an African woman, you should bow to her.
That's right.
Because that represents the resurrection of the race. So we have to take our ancestral stories and tie it to today. And tying it to today, we take the story of Aset, who had to reconstruct Asar's body, taking the Netrahemp, the symbol of divine life, raising him to the living perpendicular to 360 degrees, so he can live again. And he symbolizes what? Resurrection and salvation, because he is the ruler in the afterlife. And I think that these books in stone gives us a tradition that will help in our emancipation, our continual emancipation. And that's the mental part of our emancipation, brothers and sisters. So I think that this is what we have got to get back to. And these books in stone, as though our ancestors wrote, as though one day we would forget our story. But as long as these books are in stone are here, we can reconstruct our story and pull it together. And not look at it as something negative or something evil that the Western world, if it was supposed to be so evil and negative, then why would they come and copy the whole thing? Is that right?
Right.
So you can take the picture of Aset holding up the Netrahemp and raising Asar up to the living perpendicular of 360 degrees of spiritual knowledge. Wow. Because without that, no lights, please, no lights. Because without that on, we would not be here. Is that right?
Right.
Right.
Some of you come from somewhere else?
No.
You came down that fallopian tube.
Right.
Where were you at?
Inside that room.
You were inside that micro universe. Your mother.